Oh boy, I'm sorry I'm late. Had to put my shirt on. But we're here. Ran a little bit late today. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's my coffee. I haven't had a coffee. So I'm gonna go get Steve, and he can slap me around, put me back in line, and we've got the big question: why? The big why question. Do you wonder why? And on a serious note, have you seen that thing with Simon Sinek about why? Because it's an interesting question. Let's go get Mr. Steve-O. Where is he? Steve-O.
Hey,
hi.
I see you got your sweater on. You stand
look.
You're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Oh my God, I can't imagine how cold it is.
Oh, we got our friend Al's here. Hey, Al.
Yeah, it could be a little bit cold here. It's going to get down in the 30s around Christmas Day. Ooh.
It's dropped down here. We had our little snow, and then it gets cold. It gets cold when it gets clear out, and all the heat escapes from the earth, and it's warmer when it's cloudy.
By the way, Al, we still got to get you on the show sometime. We have the podcast here. And those of you who have been doing your shows for seniors, please post them on our group page, because I love seeing you out there entertaining the seniors, and everybody else does too. So it's an encouragement. It's to let us know that we are accomplishing something. So anyway, that's the question today. Why are we doing this? What's the why?
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that Brad brought up the questions on the event. He put it up there. He said, so are we doing it for money? Or are we doing it for fame? Or are we doing this to keep occupied as a hobby? Those are good questions, Good for you.
All the above, right?
Right. Yeah. So you ready to jump into this?
I am. Are you going to hurt my feelings?
No, not at all. No, the thing is, and I'll make this statement, let's first talk about what the wrong reasons may be. And let me explain that it's not my job to judge you whether or not you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I can only judge myself, So the comments I'm about to make here about what we call the wrong reasons, that's basically your own evaluation, Now, it will show up in your performance. When I was a judge for the IBM stage competition for 8 years, it at times it was very obvious that they were up there doing what they're performing their magic for the wrong reasons, because but then again, here's the thing I want to say. There really are no wrong reasons if you can transform those reasons into something better. So I'm going to give you some examples here, okay? And we'll start off with the first one. The first one is a lot of the young magicians started off as a boy, and they got involved in magic because they were shy, or they felt bullied, or they felt like they didn't feel important. And knowing the secrets of a trick, it made you feel important. It gave you more self-confidence.
Yeah.
If you knew the secret and other people didn't know the secret. So whatever those reasons were that you started in magic as a young person, they're valid as long as you can transform them into something better. What that means is when we're doing that, you'll actually learn to outgrow those feelings of insecurity, the feelings of shyness. Now, I know magicians who, if you talk to them one-on-one, they're not not an extrovert. Where on stage they are, they become a different persona. And there's nothing wrong with that, But the thing I'm pointing out is that whatever it is that the insecurities that you had that attracted you to magic, if you don't let go of those insecurities and move on and become more secure about who you are as a performer, it will show up in your performance. So that's one reason.
We had talked about that, where I remember trying to go into the debonair style. I'd use my middle name, Bradley Arthur GUDIM, and I wanted to look more sophisticated, and actually wore a fedora, and I don't look good in hats. So I was outside of my real self, but
well, and that leads us into something else about, you remember, there is this image of being proud that I'm a magician. In fact, there was a movie called Prestige, you know,
Yeah.
and so there's some value to that, but at the same time, if that is your real reason for performing, you're going to be disappointed, and I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. Okay,
Go to the ego boost build thing.
right? Yeah, and it shows up. It shows up in the performance. So you know, there was a magician years ago on TV. Well, I don't know if it wasn't on TV, but I remember seeing the videos. He would do a magic trick. He says, "Ta-da!" and you don't know how it's done. And he'd say, "F you," and it started. What? That's what he would do. You know.
Was it a character like Amazing Jonathan? Or?
Character that he was playing.
Okay, that might be different, but it was
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I would never go in that direction. Okay, now the next wrong reason, we start off as it's a hobby. You know, it's just something that you have interest in, and you find it intriguing to know the secrets and to be able to see how magicians perform, like learning how to play the piano or dance. You learn the art of performing magic, but it's just a hobby. And the time will come when you'll have to actually stop performing just for you, and you're now performing for the audience. So there's an evolution. I know a lot of, I don't know a lot, but there are magicians out there who do treat magic as a hobby. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to performing for other people, you know, it's a challenge. And so, you know, if you can evolve as a hobby, I mean, let's put it this way. We all started off as a hobby in magic.
Sure.
You know, none of us jumped right into full-time professionals performing for audiences type. So,
well, there's some people that are collectors. They collect as a hobby, and they actually haven't ever performed some of these things they paid thousands of dollars for.
Yeah, and other ones that get into the history of magic, and it is very fascinating, and there's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all. So, yeah, but you know, if you're performing as to why you perform the magic, then I'm saying you're going to have to evolve out of that. All right, now the next one is the money, making the money. Yeah, there you go. Hey, there's Brad on $1 million. Wow.
That's $1 million. A million.
Okay. Yes, that's one of the things about magic. You can make a lot of money doing magic. In fact, you can get yourself to the point where you're making more money doing a magic show than you would with your daytime job.
Yeah.
And then you have to ask yourself, well, wait a second, why am I doing this daytime job if I can do more of these shows? Now, like I said, there's nothing really wrong with that, except the fact that there is an evolution of perception. You know, at one time I performed as a street performer because it was my opportunity to actually get out there and learn the craft right in front of everybody, you know. And it was a great experience, and I made money at it. And the cool thing about it was, well, the truth is, I never knew how much money I was going to make, but I was surprised how much money I did make when I would go out there and perform.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but that was not my goal. That was not really my goal, and I'm going to get into where my goal was, what my purpose was. But the money alone, and I had a magic shop, and I had guys that would come into my shop and want to work because they made money at it and have fun, you know, while they're performing. And so, if you're doing it just for the money, you won't last. It will not happen. In fact,
you know, I've had situations where I've taken on little part-time jobs or helped somebody with a project, and they're paying me like 15, 20 bucks an hour, and you help them out. Then you come home and you get a little bit of a check. You think, you know what? I could have spent the day doing a show for 20 minutes. I would have made 500 bucks. Why am I doing this kind of stuff? So I think you can make a significant living if you just position yourself properly and you have good intent.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's something we haven't talked about. Maybe you're going to get into it, but if your intention of why you're doing this is to deceive people, I think that's wrong. Like even some of like the mentalists or something that they're doing these psychic readings and things and getting people to think that it's it's real. And if you're manipulating people, I think that could be wrong.
Yeah, well, yes, I'll probably agree with you on that. And so, um, there's nothing wrong with the money, but I'm going to tell you this: if it came a point where I could no longer get paid to do magic, I would still do magic. I'd still be performing somewhere, somehow, some way. You know, that because that's not the reason why I'm doing this. In fact, I'll even go as far as this: if they ever outlawed magic, where you could not perform a magic show in whatever situation you're in, whatever country, or whatever,
Stephen Hart goes underground.
That's exactly right. I would end up performing. I know I would, because it's a part of me, and so that's how I feel about this. It's not just about the money. I mean, sure, I want to make money, and I charge a fair price, but it's not about the money. And the sad thing about it is, if I can say it this way, once you start making money, good money, like you were just referring to, you become unemployable. That means, why would you go take a job for $20 an hour when you can make the $500, in 1 hour? Now, we know that it takes more effort, energy to make that $500 than just that 1 hour. But the point is, there's a shift in mentality. And during the pandemic, a lot of these guys had struggled with that because they couldn't perform. We're not allowed to perform. So we were told. And they had to go get a part-time job of some sort to supplement their income because they were making a living doing magic, And then some of them got stuck in those jobs, and now they can't get back into magic full-time again. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and I shared this before. During the pandemic, I did not stop. I mean, I didn't do nearly the number of shows I used to do, but I probably did about 100 shows during the pandemic. But I live here in Florida. It's a little bit different mentality down here. So,
well, there's even the possibility. I mean, the magic mind gets innovative and figures how can we make this work. There's a friend of mine up here, Carl Achilles. You might even have met him. He started doing front yard and garage magic shows, where you sit in your garage, he stands on the driveway, and it's a tiered thing, so you can see everything. Or you go out in the front yard and you look out the picture window and you pay for it.
Yeah, I got paid. I paid money.
It's like watching TV.
Right. I'll tell you one thing about street performing. When I did that for 3 years, I was actually hired a minimum wage of $8 an hour and whatever I could get in the hat. It was inside a festival marketplace, so I was approved by the management to be there. And there's something to be said about making that money like in that capacity. Now, I want to share with you. You have something to say?
No, I was reading Al's thing. I'm sorry. I'm listening to you, and Al's got it. Maybe you want to answer the question. It's kind of long and lengthy. You can read that. It says, when I was training to be a healthcare chaplain, my training supervisor once said to me, Al, nobody enters ministry from a purely altruistic motives. And same is true for magic. So is this a question or a statement?
Well, that's more of a statement, but that's a good question though. Is as to why we're doing what we're doing, yeah.
I think it's a good idea for all magicians to kind of look at it and go, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for views on TikTok? Am I doing this to support my ego?
No, not only that, but they're also performing the magic to make themselves look special, and then exposing the magic. I mean, come on.
There's some of that, and then there's picking up chicks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's multiple reasons just to get attention.
Yeah.
I know that what you had said earlier, and I think that a lot of magicians get into it, is because of a low self-esteem, and they can do a drawer box and produce something out of an empty box, and it's miraculous. And all it takes is a little twist of your wrist to make it work. You look like a miracle worker, and it helps you boost your confidence.
And like I said, there's really nothing wrong with that as long as you come to the point where you evolve out of that, that mentality. Yeah,
you're using it as a crutch, and you got to be able to let go of the crutch and be able to talk to the woman without your drawer box.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me share with you a story of a friend of mine. It's a personal story, and I'm going to preface it with this. If you go into magic and perform magic for the wrong reasons, and here again, it's not for me to judge, but if you decide for yourself, if you do that, if you become successful, or if you fail to become successful or to reach the goals that you want to reach, if the motivation is wrong, no matter which one, even if you're successful, you will eventually become bitter and frustrated. There are if you know stories of people who have gained fame and great success, and they still were not happy with life. The reason why is because they're doing what they're doing for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
Now, and I'm using that term loosely because the term wrong reason is a complex statement. So it's a matter of the evolution of your consciousness about who you are and what it is you're doing. That's really the truth of this.
Purpose.
Now, here's my story. I had a friend who was a professional magician, and he was very good, very, very good performer. And one day we were sitting around talking, and he said to me, if I ever win the lottery, you know what I'm going to do? I said, no, what? He goes, I'm going to pile up all my magic and burn it. I said, what? You really believe that? Yeah, he says, I would do that if I had all that money and wouldn't have to work. And I'm going, well, if that's what you're doing, then do it now. You're fooling
me.
Give it to me. No. Well, here's the sad part about it. Let me tell you the rest of the story. He was the same age as I was, and he eventually got sick. And he got so sick, he was not able to take care of his props, and they got pushed into. It was in his mother's house for a period of time. The house got sold. The props all got pushed into a truck and put into a storage unit.
Huh.
And he was not there when they did it, so they just threw everything in there. And I'm going to tell you, he had thousands of dollars worth of magic. I'm not kidding you. And I kept trying to tell him, I said, maybe you could try selling some of this stuff. But because of his attachment to the props and because of his depression that he was going through during this illness, he was not able to do that. And the poor man died with all that stuff in that storage unit. Wow. So it's almost as if he did pile it up and burn it, because it by the time I got involved in trying to get someone to come in and take the stuff out, clean out the unit. And by the time we got someone to do that, who was another professional magician, it was in bad shape. And a lot of it was trashed. It was trashed. It was sad. But a few things were recoverable and resold. But the sad thing about it is if that's your mentality, if you're thinking, if I could do something else, then go do that something else, that's doing the magic, So that was my point.
That's kind of interesting. Maybe he was in a little rut where he thought that this is all he can do because it's all he knows. So he couldn't pivot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But that's my perception of that is completely different. As I just said earlier, even if I was told I couldn't and never got paid, I would still be performing magic because it's part of me. Now
it's also you like creating things. I see you just did your thing with your soapbox thing you're working on, and
we're doing a new trick now.
You had that little rabbit in a hat thing, and you're always doodling around. You're just a big kid.
Okay, I'm just a big kid. You're right. Yeah, I'm still doing what I did when I was a kid. So yeah. Now let's talk about the right reasons, or if we talk about the wrong reason, now we're going to talk.
Yeah, we're at 20 minutes now, so let's talk about that.
Okay. All right. As you just said, being creative. Being creative is the good reason to do what we do. Creating fun and laughter for your audience. That is a good enough reason right there. In fact, a part of my promotion, I say, I put joy in their hearts and smiles upon their faces. That's what I tell people I do. And so, yes, that is a good reason to do it. But it comes down to this. I have a passion for performing magic. As I said, it's a part of me. And I made that over the years. And it's never really became a job where I just tasted wanting to go in to do the show or wanting to go to work. No, I would not allow myself to do that because I knew that that the joy that it brought for me to give my magic as a gift to others, So it's about the passion. It's about expressing yourself and giving of yourself and inspiring other people. So I don't know how many times people come up to me after the show and say, "Gee, you really enjoy doing this, don't you? I can tell." And so it makes me feel good to know that I am communicating that feeling as though that it is a good feeling that they're sharing with me and I'm sharing with them. So if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're doing it because it's a passion, you love it. And the real reason, the big word, I just put 3 letters: fun. It's fun. If you're not having fun doing your magic shows, then stop doing it or go find something else until you can come back and have fun with it.
So on that note, let's close this off. But here's the question then, if we can ponder. Maybe you have the answer, oh Swami. If a person is, and I'm speaking, I'll just be open and transparent for myself. I've been doing magic since I was like 4 or 5. That's when I got my interest in it. It's been a piece of my life for a long, long time, but I still haven't found the thing for me because it isn't so much performing, or maybe it's not the venue to perform at. How do you find that thing? Where do you get all of a sudden the energy to go, I'm going to tinker with this soapbox all day long? Where's my X-Acto knife? I go, nah, I don't want to do
that. Those things come to me when I get quiet and shut out the world and go within, and it's all there. It's all in there. You see, in the invisible, there are ideas and concepts floating all around, and I have to open myself up to receive them. And it's the same thing with the inspiration. Every show, every time I get to perform, it's another opportunity for me to be able to do what I do. And so if you can't identify what that is and why it is you're doing this, then you're always going to have that struggle.
So that might be your nugget of wisdom that could have possibly helped your friend, that maybe you should get quiet and find out, why are you doing this?
Oh, there's
a reason for it.
We talked about, but sickness and depression can be very powerful. And yeah.
That's another reason for doing it. Can you imagine going into one of the senior centers and there's an old lady there and she's just depressed and
yes,
misses her grandchildren, and then they have a family night and the little kids having a fun time and grandma's having a fun time and they rebond. It gives her the incentive to keep going for another week or month or a year.
No, I totally agree. So that's another reason why. And like I say, I've said this before. When I do my show to the seniors and I see their faces come alive, and their energy kicks up, and they're completely different audience from when I started the show. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, that's it then, Steve-O. I'm going to pop you in the green room for some of those digital hors d'oeuvres.
And everybody post your pictures and shows on our group page. All right.
Yeah, folks, put your pictures and shows on the group page. We need some more engagement. All right. Thanks, Steve-O. So there you go. That was fun. The Magic for Seniors Facebook group. Put your pictures and videos and comments and stuff on there. Hope you enjoyed it again today. See you next week. Peace, love, and happiness. If you want to connect with me, just go ahead and do that. Rattle my cage. I'm out there. See you later. Bye.